Well, here we go again, folks. I can hardly believe it. It is the go-to weapon of mass distraction for Americans. Donald Trump is back on the let's go invade Venezuela bandwagon again so that we can prevent drugs from coming into our country. Folks, I really thought we had put this subject to bed, but we're going to revisit it because they're bringing it back up. And now there is another story regarding Mr. Trump that shows just exactly how two-faced the man is and how the people advising him have absolutely no idea what they're doing. They're just lost. They can't keep track of their own lies and misinformation anymore. For those of you who haven't heard, Donald Trump has announced that he's sending 3 destroyers, yeah, that's right, a grand total of 3 destroyers, to patrol around the waters outside of Venezuela to help stop the flow of drugs into this country. Now, I'm sure some of you are probably smart enough to go, hey, wait a minute, didn't he just say he was gonna? But no, that can't be. How can? Wait till we show this, folks. There's going to be very, very little that can be said to explain it other than the man's losing his mind or has already lost his mind. And the people around him don't dare correct him. Don't dare say, hey, Mr. Trump, you can't do this and also do that in the same breath. It's not going to work. But maybe it will. Maybe Americans are just that dumb and distracted right now. But for those of you who have joined us over the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, the non-dumb, non-distracted types, God bless you guys for being there. Very, very much appreciate it. There are forces that be, powers that be, that don't want the real truth getting out. That's why you hear from channels like The Patriot Nurse less and less. That's why Jennifer, Veterans for Truth, had to leave, and so many others had to leave. I'm trying to hang on here. I'm trying to stick with it. And a lot of you guys have stepped up and said, Florida Maquis, we want to keep you going. And God bless all of you. That's all I can really say. Sometimes I don't feel like I deserve it, but you guys step up every month. If you'd like to join us over there, it's got 4 levels: 2 a month, 5 a month, 10 a month, 15 a month. There's content, hundreds of videos going all the way back 6-7 years. You can get a refund, a full refund in 90 days if it's not for you. Go look at all the videos, see what's over there. And I know times are tough, and we're going to cover that today too. It's a very, very strange thing how one day to the next things can be said and people just don't put the 2 and 2 together. But without any further delay, let's get right to it. I used this image way back when Trump was talking about tariffs. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This is when it's like, well, we're going to throw massive tariffs on everybody, but only China. But, well, maybe I won't put any on. And then maybe it'll be today and tomorrow. And then it was all art of the deal and 5D chess. But let's get to the real meat of the story of what's going on now. Combating drug threats. U.S. deploys warships near Venezuela. 3 U.S. Aegis guided missile destroyers will arrive off the coast of Venezuela in the next 36 hours as part of an effort to address threats from Latin America drug cartels. Oh, no, it's all Venezuela. It couldn't be Colombia. It couldn't be Peru. Couldn't be anybody else. No, there are allies. They would never do that. It's only the Venezuelans. President Donald Trump has wanted to use the military to go after Latin American drug gangs that have been designated as global terrorist organizations, blah, blah, blah. You guys have heard it all before. USS Gravely, Jason Dunham, USS Samson, 4,000 sailors and Marines, just enough to keep his base distracted. And Reuters has this as well to back this up. What this is really about, folks, is there's a giant mountain of gold. A giant mountain of gold in Venezuela. And that's why they've been able to up the reward on Maduro to, I don't know, is it $50, $70 million? I don't know what it is. They want to go down there, put a U.S. puppet in charge, and start shipping the gold here so that they can revalue gold to deal with the national debt. They want to go steal Venezuela's gold and oil and use it to benefit the United States. That's all this is about. I mean, whatever you do, don't believe that the, man who stood in front of the UN and said, give me your crown, Jesus, give me your cross, your thorns, so that I may bleed, but give me life because I have more to do for this country. And these people, Hugo Chavez, of course, talking about the Venezuelans before the CIA killed him in Cuba and gave him cancer. And, of course, he was the soldier, and Nicolas Maduro, the bus driver, that, of course, they rigged the election to win, being just a soldier and a bus driver. Florida Marquis, we're going to round up those drug dealers. We're going to round them up, and we're going to send them down to Guatemala in that prison. And what are you showing, Marquis? Wait, didn't you know? Yeah, Donald Trump has decided to take Biden's advice and reschedule marijuana. Trump signals push to finish Biden's marijuana reform. President Trump says he's open to following through on former President Biden's push to reschedule marijuana, a move that comes up short of legalization but would still provide a major boost for the cannabis industry. I thought we didn't want drugs in this country. I thought drugs were bad. Or is it only when the drugs are bought from people down in South America that the drugs are bad? Trump says he's considering reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. You know what really pisses me off about this whole thing about going after the dealers? There were drug dealers when we were kids, Gen Xers. What did they tell us? You know what? There's always going to be drug dealers. It's your job to say no. This abdication of personal responsibility in America is nauseating. Blaming the drug dealers, blaming the drug dealers. You could have put a drug dealer on every corner between my house and my high school, and I wouldn't have bought a single ounce of anything because I knew better. And if I would have gotten caught or I would have gotten in trouble with drugs, nobody would have blamed our local drug dealer. They would have blamed me. But now we're in an era where it's everybody else's fault, isn't it? But let's get down to the meat, what the real story is here. President Donald Trump has stirred the pot by announcing his administration is considering to reclassify marijuana. Currently, cannabis is a Schedule I drug under federal law, equating it with substances like heroin and LSD. This classification implies no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. However, discussions are underway to potentially move it to Schedule III, which includes drugs with a moderate to low potential for dependence, give me a break, such as ketamine and testosterone. Reclassifying marijuana to Schedule III could be a game changer for the cannabis industry, valued at approximately $80 billion. This shift would allow marijuana businesses to benefit from different tax regulations. Currently, companies dealing with Schedule I or II substances cannot make ordinary business deductions or add credits to their federal taxes. Removing this tax burden would be a significant advantage, fostering investor interest and opening new research opportunities. Trump has expressed that it's time to end unnecessary arrests for small amounts of marijuana, unless the marijuana is bought from somebody from Venezuela, and then, of course, it's a capital crime. For personal use, he advocates for smart regulations to provide access to safe, tested products. Following his announcement, cannabis company stocks surged, with Canopy Growth and Tilray brands rising over 20%, and Kronos Group increasing by more than 11%. ETFs like Advisor Shares, Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF, and Amplify Alternative Harvest ETFs also saw significant gains. I guess God saved Trump to save America from sobriety. God saved Trump to save America from fresh air. Because mark my words, if they do this, there won't be one place you can step outside your house where it doesn't reek of weed. Go to all your Democrat-run cities. Go to all your Democrat and liberal-run cities and tell me they don't reek of weed all the time. You see, this is what happens. Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Epstein's forgiven. No more Epstein files. Don't got to worry about it. I'm tough on drugs. I'm tough on drugs. But I'm going to make it easier on drug dealers. I'm going to make it easier. I found this cartoon and I thought it was hilarious. I just wanted to share it for a little laugh. There's a wolf talking to three sheep here, and he's like, you know what? Everybody knows I don't eat sheep. And then as he's shoving one of the sheep in his mouth, he says, well, in fact, I eat way less sheep than anybody. And I have a fabulous relationship with the sheep. And then the one sheep looks at the other and says, he'll protect us from the sheep eaters. And then, of course, the dejected mother with daughter on her lap, reading The Sheep and the Wolf, the book, the daughter blurts out, oh, come on, Mom, nobody is that dumb. Yep. You are. You are. It just is. It is what it is. But by all means, let's not try to help Americans with grocery bills. Let's spend hundreds of $millions on new gold ornate ballrooms for the White House. Let's do that. Let's spend a bunch of 3 destroyers down to Venezuela and the costs involved with that. But let's not help Americans with their grocery bill. You see, we're a country that forces human beings to beg for food at pantries so that we don't have to take a dime from the wealthiest people in this country. We are morally bankrupt. And yeah, I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it and say about it what you want. This is a quote from Adolf Hitler. We are socialists. We are enemies of today's capitalistic economic system for the exploitation of the economically weak, with its unfair salaries, with its unseemly evaluation of a human being according to wealth and property instead of responsibility and performance. And we are all determined to destroy this system under all conditions. So many years later, a man said, a very godly man, said, "We have among us a class of mammon worshippers whose one test of conservatism or radicalism is the attitude one takes with respect to accumulated wealth. Whatever tends to preserve the wealth of the wealthy is called conservatism, and whatever favors anything else, no matter what, they call socialism." And I was going to cover this with just the top 3, but we're going to do this. We're going to do the top 10. The combined wealth of the top 10 wealthiest individuals in the world is $1.7 trillion as of August of last year. A lot of people can't wrap their minds around what $1.7 trillion is. $1.7 trillion is earning $53,906 per second, every second, for an entire year. $53,906, what most people would be very happy in America to earn in a year. Those 10 individuals earn in a second. That's right. They earn that in 1 second. Put another way, $283 for every living human being on the planet. $283. There are places that in this world, that $283 represents multiple years of wages. That's the world we live in right now. Those of you that want to type and say whatever you want about my defending Venezuela. Until the U.S. decided to embargo and sanction Venezuela, they were one of the wealthiest nations on the planet, per capita, the wealthiest nation on the planet. Until the U.S. decided, no, we can't have that. We cannot have Americans learning the truth about what socialism is really all about. Because if we don't protect the wealthy, if we don't protect the elitist globalists, then we really will have wealth that means something. And people will get educated. And people will understand how to defeat capitalism and how to stop it from ever coming back if we don't defeat it now. Donald Trump wants Nicolas Maduro's mountain of gold in giant puddle of oil under Venezuela. It has nothing to do with drugs. How do we know it has nothing to do with drugs? Well, real simple. Real simple. Trump is saying that marijuana, less dangerous drug, no big deal. And folks, I'm not going to share the picture. I wanted to. I really did. But I thought better of it. Ladies, go look at some pictures of Ivanka Trump, pardon me. Her name technically is Ivana. Ivanka is a nickname, his daughter. When you see pictures of her when she was in her late teens and 20s, no woman in the world looks like that without cocaine. I had a great picture I had put together of 6 different images of her from her teen years up to all the way to recently. And it's very, very clear that drug use amongst the wealthy, well, I don't think I even have to convince anybody, do I? That the drug use amongst the wealthy, even our new Secretary of Health and Humans, whoever he is, RFK, the guy was a heroin addict for years. for years, and he still uses all methylene blue and all this other crap. So explain it to me like I'm 3. How on one side of his mouth he says that he's going to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug so that he can let a bunch of criminals out of prisons, so that he can show a drop in crime. See, if he reclassifies marijuana as a less dangerous drug, then there'll be fewer arrests and there'll be fewer confiscations, and that'll show a statistic that might make you believe that that's a drop in crime. And then he'll take credit for that. But then he's going to send warships and Marines over to Venezuela and say, we're not going to have drugs in this country, by God. We're going to stop it right where the source is. And yeah. Okay. God bless. Thank you guys for joining us on Patreon. Very much appreciate it. Love to have you over there. Pray for each other. Pray for me. I'll pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.